Alright, welcome back for round 4. I won the die roll, so I will play first. Alright, so I also restarted Magic Online yet again, in hopes that it's not quite as bad as it was last time. The video, I mean, I'll still show a couple of times where it hiccuped pretty badly, so let's hope that doesn't happen this round. Alright, I mean, I'm definitely glad he got that as opposed to the Azorius Guild Mage. I mentioned it kind of briefly in my article, but in case you're unaware, the Azorius Guild Mage is the Ravnica, or I guess it'd be Dissension uncommon that costs, it is a 2-drop. Its ability, however, is to pay 3, and you then get to when you pay 3, you get a counter target activated ability, and this is a target activated ability, so basically if they draw that, they can stop every one of your activations. My opponent there unfortunately did control blue permanent, which means you gotta bounce it, and obviously in Momir, bounce is the equivalent to just a flat-out kill spell. Unfortunately, a card like this would have been significantly better when damage was on the stack, and it was designed during a time when that was the case. So, especially for 4 mana, it's quite weak. So here I'll probably attack with both, and I'll just block one and then kill his flyer, because the flyer is definitely what I want to kill. I'm not nearly as concerned about the ground guys. So I just take 2 damage here. Hopefully I draw something better. I mean, at least I guess I gotta take out his flyer, which isn't the worst thing in the world, so. Alright, and this is actually really powerful, because since it counts both my creatures and his creatures, this can grow very monumental very easily. So unfortunately my opponent drew a flyer, which is never fun. Hopefully I can get in here and get my own flyer or do something to cause some sort of trade. Just so I can start getting this guy bigger, or at the very least keep alive. So interestingly, it does get -2/-2 right now. It would be a 5/6 apparently. So here I definitely attack. He'll probably just take it, because if he chumps, it just makes my guy bigger. He could double block, but that makes this guy massive, so it seems unlikely. Obviously nothing I can do here, I just take 4. Depending on what I draw here, I probably won't attack. just because that'll stop him from attacking. I mean, if he wants to attack, I can trade. It really obviously depends on what I pull here. And I'm still hoping for it to be a flyer. Hopefully a black flyer on top of that, because then this will get bigger. So, because I drew something that can still trade with his 6/4 over there, I will attack here. And at least that keeps the damage even at the moment. That's a pretty bad one for him. I mean, it's a 6/6 trampler, but it's still... it's not that effective. Here, I think actually I want to attack first, because if I draw a red one, this becomes smaller, and makes it so he can just chump block. I mean, I get counters if he does that, but he's most likely going to chump block at this point. Or he'll take 6, which actually is kind of surprising. At that point, I probably would have chump blocked. I mean, he still has a creature that'd be larger than my Kresh at that point, so... that makes things very interesting, because that means I can really just wipe out... I can actually wipe out his entire board. So if he attacks... Oh, jeez. I'm actually just dead here, as he is a flyer, and I have to let one of the 2s through, which is just unfortunate. There's nothing I can do here. So she's a trampler, so... yeah, I'm just dead on this one, unfortunately. Had he not actually drawn that, I probably could have actually won next turn just by activating the Fire Cat several times. Alright, here we are back in Game 2. Interestingly enough, in this opening hand, I actually didn't have a single swamp, which the composition of my deck means it's pretty unlikely, but hopefully I'll draw at least one. Alright, here obviously I attack. I mean, if he blocks, he doesn't even trade, as the -1/-1 from flanking will just kill it. I actually remember that the flanking only works when I'm attacking with it, essentially, because if I block with it, it doesn't do the same thing. I may consider trading it with that. I'm not entirely sure what I'll do yet. We'll see what I pull here. Yeah, I'll go ahead and trade at this point. He can attack with his 2/1, so if he wants to block here, that's fine with me. Alright, here, I mean, that'll never happen. You just basically just drew a 3/3 for 4, so just a hill giant. I mean, it's so unlikely I'll have the mana untapped to ever do that. It's not impossible, it's just very unlikely. Alright, and this is a very good card, just because it's now unblockable, and it's 2 damage a turn, which isn't a fast clock, obviously, but it does add up, and it can shave several turns off a later clock. That's a pretty uneventful drop for him. It just doesn't do much. I mean, there are narrow times where I might pay to activate that ability, but it's not going to happen very often. Largely to the point where I can ignore it, but it's something to make sure I keep in mind. And then I get something like that, which is just amazing. Right now, I think taking out his 4/3 is perfectly fine, since I'll be able to attack next turn with it and just wail on him really hard. It'll be very good. Actually, I hope it doesn't draw something that can easily trade with that. Yeah, so I mean, essentially, I can trade my 6 for all 3 of his creatures at this point if I attack, because he will almost definitely double block. He can't let me keep the Inferno Titan on the board. And I mean, I would obviously just kill the 3/3, and he then double block with the 2/1 and the 4/4. We'll see what I draw here. In this case, I think it's still wise to attack. I mean, this really, and I screwed up right there because I didn't, for some reason, didn't attack with my Landwalker, because I was just too busy concentrating on how to do the Inferno Titan. But because I now have an 8/8 on the board, it also makes it harder for him to block, or he'll have a strong desire to block that. Yeah. Unfortunately, that does have Vigilance, which means he'll be able to attack back with it, but I mean, I can just chump, or hopefully I get something really good here as well, because I'm pulling an 8. And see, right here is exactly why I do want to land all 3 types of mana. Depending on what he draws here, I can easily end up wanting to pay for this. And since there's 5 of these guys, you have a higher chance of hitting this than you do a Sundering Titan. And so what you lose by getting affected by the Sundering Titan isn't nearly as great as what you lose, in my opinion, by not being able to pay for this. In this situation, I'm going to pay, mainly because that puts him in a very... He pretty much has to block. And so I'm going to get rid of both of his creatures here. And I mean, he'll trade the Living Inferno for my Plated Slagworm. And this guy will just run over the Chancellor, which puts me in a strong position to be able to win next turn. And so I really do think here, actually in this case, I'm actually going to even attack with him. I'll leave him back. He won't die. I mean, me attacking with the Sanctifier doesn't kill him. So it's an interesting choice there for him to do that. I mean, he's down to 1, so like I said, he could have just blocked the Sanctifier with Living Inferno. So we'll see what I draw here. He's going to use the Living Inferno to kill the dragon next turn. However, now I have a Mountain Walk creature, so it's pretty much game over for him unless he draws something really good here. I mean, he could get a Hoverguard Sweepers, for instance, and do it, but yeah. So I've now won on that one. Alright, my opponent is playing first, as expected here. And so here's the game for the packs. Him playing a plains on the first turn makes me think he probably has no mountains in his hand, or swamps. It just seems like a very strange first land to play. I also could be completely read into it there, and it's just he clicked that one. So unfortunately, I mean, that would be nice if it actually accelerated, but it doesn't. Since I can never cast spells. So he drew a really good 3 there, and just that it's a flyer that already starts attacking. So I'm going to need a flyer to play catch up already. Although we're going to trade damage to begin with. So Kinship's another one that never has an impact since the deck's all land. So I'm just going to set auto yield to no and just an auto yield on it. And he drew another Flying Haster. So I mean, right now we're just trading damage, which isn't the most. It means if I just draw a flyer at this point, we're even. We're on even keel. So. So unfortunately, I did not draw a flyer. So I really need to hope that he whiffs on his draw. Because if he draws something that breaks all 3 of my ground pounders, he'll just be able to start taking away the game pretty quickly. It doesn't affect all 3 of them. I mean, the Brawn will trade with them. Unfortunately, those do represent like a 4-turn clock at this point, so I do really need to pull up a flyer or something to gain life, something that puts me so far ahead that he can't attack a flyer. And here's Magic Online deciding to be super slow again, and that's just a terrible card for me to draw. Yeah, at this point I think I don't have much choice but to protect with that. Attacking with both of those to lose 1 to gain 2 damage doesn't do that much for me. So once again, I just really need him to whiff on this. Unfortunately, that brick walls even this guy. It's not looking good for me at this point. Interestingly enough, I drew the exact same card as him. So essentially at this point I have 2 turns to draw a flyer, or I'm just dead. Or to draw something to stop these 2, which is just brutal. So unfortunately, drawing that did absolutely nothing to help me. And the game's almost over at this point. Because now, even if I draw a flyer, he still can get through with the other one and kill me. So I need something. I need multiple things here. For instance, like a Hoverguard Sweepers would be something that could effectively win. That actually does work, because he cannot, if he attacks, my first strike will let me Let me kill his creature, and I'll gain the 6 life beforehand. And the really convenient thing is it has Vigilance, so I can start gaining some life back. And so once again, this is the point where, and actually I should attack first in this case, because if I draw like the Karadect Leviathan, it just would not be very handy for me to then bounce everything and be at 2 life. But yeah, and it just further goes to show that I could have conceded the point there, because even a single flyer wasn't enough to save me. But I then drew both of those. I drew one flyer that handled everything. And so conveniently, it has protection from green, so this cannot even target it. So effectively, my opponent whiffed there. He may block here, just chump block with his Scourge over here. We'll find out. Yeah, I mean, it's not that surprising here. He'd be at low enough life at that point that if I drew another flyer, I could put him in a really awkward position. Here's one of the most powerful cards in here. What I'm definitely going to do here is exile both of his swamps. Although I think it actually targeted a forest, which is annoying. It doesn't mean he can't force me to block it with something and exile it in the same turn. And Magic Online there wouldn't let me click this one, so I tried to click the back one, and it was always just clicking the front one. So at this point, he's essentially he has one more turn to pull something out here. And so I've completely turned this game around towards my favor. And this is definitely one of the better 8 drops out there. It does so much. I mean, the First Strike and Vigilance and Lifelink are all so powerful, as is demonstrated by the fact that my opponent went from nearly guaranteed to win to falling terribly behind now. And at this point, yeah, I mean, he has very few outs as well at this point. And he's on 6s, so it's even worse for him. Yeah, so I've won this game. I managed to have enough luck with it. Just this guy alone is enough to pull out the win there. Alright, well, thank you for watching. This is my first video, so if you have any helpful advices for me, that'd be great. And